Hello and welcome back to the thearkofe podcast. My name is Noah.
And my name is Gavin.
And we're the Blanchard brothers back with you to deliver our second annual Oscar wrap-up. It's going to be fun. We'll find out who won. And then I think we got to talk about a little HBO Max Warner Brothers venture. I think colloquially known as Mortal Kombat.
Oh, sorry.
I tried not to blow out the mic on that one. But just so you know, I do a perfect replication of the original 1995? Four,
yeah. 4.
I thought it was 95 for some reason. Anyways.
Are we talking movie or game? Because the game is definitely earlier.
But that's a soundtrack thing, though, right? Where they sampled the video game, essentially. But that's the first time that theme ever existed. That theme didn't exist in the video game.
No, it existed on the world tour because there was like a live world tour in the 90s where basically the equivalent of like EDM or house DJs now would go around to different arenas and the Mortal Kombat contestants would come out on stage and fight to their songs. I had the Mortal Kombat, the album, which had every single combatant's theme song that had nothing to do with the game. It was just made up for this quote unquote world tour. Like the Ninja Turtles had the same thing back in the day too. So
I do remember that soundtrack.
Yeah.
I can see the jewel case in my head right now. I don't know where your energy is at, whether you want to go Oscars first or whether you want to jump into talking about old Mortal Kombat. I know Oscars is maybe a little bit more of a raw subject for you. So, maybe we do that first and we run down who won and give our thoughts, and then we can give a little review to Mortal Kombat 2021.
Yeah, I would like that because if I end on the Oscars, it's going to be a bad time and a half. I'd like to end.
Yeah, it might be an ending on par with Sunday night. So yeah, let's not do that. Let's start with the Oscars. You got the paperwork in front of you, as it were?
I do, sir.
Okay, so you got the categories. Do I even need to? I guess I need to tell you who won, huh? Did you watch?
No,
you didn't watch it all. Nope. Not a drop, as they say.
Not in the slightest.
Okay, so you didn't even experience what you were so upset about.
No, and I'm glad I did.
As it happened. Okay,
I was catching up on Invincible.
Fair enough. I think I'm 2 behind right now, but
yeah, I caught those 2 that you've missed.
That show's very good. Stars multiple Oscar winners and nominees.
Yes,
possibly the best voice cast ever assembled, you could say.
I think these last 2 have the guy from Rick and Morty in it. At least it sounds like him.
Justin Roiland.
Yeah.
He is in the show. That is true. Let's get to those winners. Alrighty. So I think we can stick with the same order that we had them in before. Looks like that is in place. So this is not how they were given out on the night, but we'll get into all of those details. So just from the top, you said you didn't watch it all. I told you they were produced / directed essentially by Mr. Steven Soderbergh.
Yes.
Favorite of mine. Personally, as a guy who watches this like every year and has pretty much since, I pretty much remember watching every Oscars. I want to say from like Titanic forward. Sounds about right. I feel like that was the first year I was like really tapped into it. And then it was an event every year. Yeah. So I think it's one of the better broadcasts in recent memory. And you could put a giant asterisk next to that. It's like, well, given the circumstances, but I'm like, but given the circumstances, it actually freed them up to like do kind of a different take on the award show, a little bit of a different vibe. And so the whole thing was, it was more directed, more filmic. It was shot in widescreen, like film grade cameras. And it's pretty amazing. It opened with like Regina King walking into the hall, and then literally you like kind of realize it's live, but the whole like walk in totally was like, oh, is she the star of the new Ocean's 11 or, Logan Lucky, essentially?
Yeah.
And she gets in there and she delivers like the opening segment, kind of explains what's going on, how they're going to rotate people in and out, why they're maskless, how they're able to be maskless, etc. There were some people who were basically on satellite, like, they were in set locations across the globe for some of the other crew members and stuff like that. But they
Hmm.
had like a decent amount of people in there. I think it was like 200 people or something, but a different vibe and like more of a lounge vibe, low light levels. It basically looked like an Ocean's movie,
Hmm.
essentially. So just from an aesthetic standpoint, the other thing they did, it worked for the most part, but they, instead of like, okay, we're just going to show you a clip montage for every single category, they, for some of them, were like, we're just going to tell you about these nominees, either actors or like technical people, whatever. We're going to give you like a little tidbit about them, or we asked them a question about movies, essentially. So a little bit more of a personal vibe, and that worked. And they also did not play anybody off. So that was a good thing in some aspects and a bad thing in some other aspects, because some people did ramble on in the typical, I'm listing 100 names, none of which have any relevance to anybody outside of this room, but I have to do it because that's what's expected in these
Hmm.
scenarios. But then you also, that gave room for like some people to absolutely kill it with like more elongated speeches. Uh, and then you have like Frances McDormand, who spoke for like 15 seconds when she won for Best Actress. Because I think even she was kind of like, really? Did I need three? Did I need three? I don't know. Okay. Let's jump into the categories. We can offer some commentary as we go along. I think we both picked this one and we nailed it. Best international feature went to Another Round. So I think that is one
Yes.
for each of us.
Hmm.
Best live action short film went with Two Distant Strangers. What did you go with?
The present.
Well, sorry to you. Two Distant
Yep.
Strangers won. Uh, Big win for Netflix. Okay, we're on to
This
animated
is.
short film. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
think this is pretty much where you take these little tiny ones. I think is where you take over. And
But you made some different predictions in some of the other categories that may help you out. I can't remember. I
yeah.
definitely messed up quite a bit. Okay, animated short film. If Anything Happens, I Love You. I believe that was my pick,
Yep.
and that is the winner. What did you have in that one?
Or or I can't read my own handwriting.
I
O R
think
E R A.
opera.
Opera. That's what it is.
Yeah, you
I
picked opera, which, by all accounts, what I've heard is that opera is actually like the mini masterpiece and should have won in that category. So unfortunately, you made like the critics pick essentially, but you didn't get it. Okay,
I'm
animated
the
feature
Google
went.
review to the rest of everyone else's, critics pick. I got you.
There you go.
I'm what the
Uh,
viewers really know to watch. I got it.
Animated feature went to Soul. No surprise there. I think we both had that picked.
We did.
We did. Documentary short subject. I think we both got this wrong. It went to Colette.
Hmm.
And I think I picked Love Song for Latasha, and you had Hunger Ward. Is that
We
right?
did.
So we
Hmm.
were both wrong on that one. Yeah, nobody told me Colette was Holocaust adjacent. So
Oh, oh.
if I had known that, that probably would have been my pick.
I thought they were doing it about Tony Collette.
A little early for that, but
You never know.
okay. Best documentary feature. And again, this is one I was happy to be wrong about because this was my pick that I wanted to win, but I think I said it was going to be time, and it's actually My Octopus Teacher.
Yep.
What did you have in that one?
Crip Camp.
Okay, both wrong, dead wrong.
Yep.
Okay, visual effects. I had Tenet. That's a win for me. Sorry, it
Yeah,
went
I
to
had.
Tenet.
Yeah, it's a win for both of us.
I'm trusting you on this end. I did listen back to our episode. I'm just messing with you, brother. Okay, he's showing it
Tenet
up for.
is there twice.
That's
See, this
visual
is the beauty.
confirmation.
Yeah,
This is visual
yeah.
confirmation. We have visual confirmation. Achievement in music written for this original song. Excuse me. It
Yep.
went to Judas and the Black Messiah. which I was happy to see, but not my pick. Uh, I believe I had Speak Now because I was going with the
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Odom Jr. energy, but in the montage they played, I was like, I definitely didn't sit through the credits of Judas and the Black Messiah because as soon as it was over, I was just like, okay, I got to get this off my screen. This is like this is too raw right now. So I definitely did not
Mm-hmm.
hear this song, which plays over the credits, but I was like, oh, that's actually like it's pretty
Oh,
catchy.
and what was it?
It's a good tune. Fight for You by Her,
Oh, okay.
Her, all caps with yeah. What did you have in that one? You went with Husavik, of course.
Yes.
Okay. Again, we were both wrong. Achievement in this is original score, excuse me. I think we both nailed this. Soul, Trent
No,
Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Baptiste.
I
What'd you
had the
pick?
Five Bloods. I picked the Five Bloods.
Oh, yeah, because of our cousin, Terrence Blanchard,
Mm-hmm.
of course.
Yep.
Achievement in makeup and hairstyling, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Yep.
So check. Hell yeah.
Check.
Best sound, Sound of Metal.
Yes.
So this is notable. They had Riz Ahmed present this category. And so of course you're
Mm-hmm.
sitting there going like, okay, well if Sound of Metal doesn't win, this is gonna be awkward as hell, right? And then it
Mm-hmm.
wins. So you're like, okay, do they, they're making assumptions because supposedly nobody knows who's gonna win, except for the
Right.
lawyers at Price Waterhouse or whatever, the secure
Or Lords
envelopes,
of London or whoever. Yeah.
all of that shit. Yeah. Okay. Just keep that in mind because I don't know if you've heard the narrative of like how the evening went because they kind of reshuffled things a bit. Usually they open with best supporting actor. They do like a big award right off the bat. They open with
Mm-hmm.
two screenplay Oscars back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they did international feature right after that. And then they got to supporting. But anyways, we'll continue through in the way that we had them listed just because it's more convenient for you. Um, Moving on from best sound, best achievement in costume design, it went to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which I was happy to see. But I know I picked Emma here because I thought they were going to spread the wealth even further than they actually did because a lot of movies got love last night. But yeah, so no,
Mm-hmm.
Ma Rainey took this one as well. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
double win in the two technicals. What'd you have there?
I had my raised Black Bottom for that and the
Oh,
yep.
well, there you
It's
go.
like we both did.
So that's one that Gavin has. I don't know if that ties us up or
No, no, it certainly doesn't.
okay.
Two.
Production design went to Mank.
Yep.
Shockingly,
I mean, come on, dude. It's adventure. It's a Hollywood movie about Hollywood. Why would
I
it not go?
know, but I just assumed. I assumed it was going to be that movie this year that just got
Well,
absolutely nothing.
well, we know what happens when people assume. We can get to that in the at the end here.
Yes, yeah. Let's save that by all means. Okay. Production design. What did you have in there, bud? Remind the
And,
listeners.
oh, I had Mank for production design as well.
Well, all right then. You're still
That's why
not
I
pulling
told.
ahead?
No, not yet. There may be some sleepers here towards the end, but right now I'm still one behind.
Okay, film editing. I
Two
definitely
behind.
got this wrong as well. Film editing went to Sound of Metal, which was awesome. I think I said last episode Sound of Metal is going to win one Oscar and one Oscar only, and it actually pulled off two.
Yeah, I was surprised for the two because this was the other only toy. Well, I picked him for like my backup best actor, but I had it for the achievement in editing and then sound was the only two things I thought if it didn't go to best actor. Because again, I'm assuming who we all thought was going to win best actor. So I was like, look, those are the only other two I could say for it. So now essentially I'm just one behind.
Um, and I think what did I have? Nomadland in that category?
Yes.
Because again, I was
Mm-hmm.
expecting a bit of a sweep. So when some of these other movies started winning in these, I was like, okay, well maybe Nomadland is not like a lock for Best Picture. Maybe something else is in play. But you know, wishful thinking perhaps. Achievement in cinematography also went to Mank.
And we both had Nomadland.
Yeah, Mank. We were way off. Adapted screenplay went to The Father. I think I floated this one, but what did I actually put down?
You had no Badland.
Damn it. So stupid.
I had
Um,
Borat, so don't feel bad.
I think The Father was my, hey, it might be this, and I should have gone with it. But yeah, The Father won for adapted screenplay. Again, this was my biggest gripe of this. And again, I haven't seen The Father. I've actually heard it described recently. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm probably going to love this. But um, it sounds like it's a very Charlie Kaufman esque movie in some
Mhm.
of the like stylistic choices, essentially, and the storytelling choices. I don't want to spoil anything. I've tried to keep myself vague on it as well. But it's the more I hear about it, I'm kind of like, okay, well, maybe that's why I'm thinking if anything's got like no love whatsoever because they were like, no, this movie, this is that vibe for us. I don't know. But anyway, so The Father won here. Original screenplay. I think I got this. Promising Young Woman.
What did it go to again?
We're on an original screenplay now, and I think I got
Yeah.
this one. Promising Young Woman.
Yes, it did go promising young woman.
And what did you have there?
Sound of metal,
Wishful thinking again.
of course.
Achievement in directing. Chloe Zhao nailed that one. That was a gimme for sure.
Yep, for both of us.
Uh, Supporting actress. I had Yao Jun from Minari, and she won, and she gave one of the best speeches of the night. It was pretty enjoyable. Who'd you have there, brother? Or like remind there
The
are
little
listeners. This is not
the
just us doing this, right?
I know, no, I had the little girl from Borat.
Maria Bakalova,
Yes, her.
the little girl. Okay. Supporting actor, Dino Kaluuya. We nailed it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did. That is two, one for each of us.
One for the both of you.
Yeah.
On to actress in a lead role. Excuse me. Let's not do that. Now let's reverse the order and let's do it how they did it. Because they gave director very like way earlier than expected. It was like, okay, this was kind of a given. So it's interesting that they're reshuffling it.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I thought because I've been pausing it for the ad breaks and then like fast forwarding a bit. I honestly thought like, oh, did it time out? And it's like catching up with live TV because all of a sudden they were presenting Best Picture. I was
Hmm.
like, what the hell's going on? So they present Best Picture and it goes, as we expected, to Nomadland. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was my pick for what I thought would win. That is, in fact, what won. But because they did it two before the last, they did it early, essentially. I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. They're pretty well convinced, like we all are, that Chadwick Boseman is going to win Best Actor. And that's the note we're going to end this evening on. It's going to be sad, but it's going to be a tribute kind of thing. So then they do Best Actress. And I told you I thought like Carrie Mulligan was just going to pull this one out. And so it was a bit of a surprise to me because I thought this category was a little more wide open given some of the earlier like winners throughout the season. But it was just like, oh, it's Frances McDormand. And like she got up there, she gave like a 15-second speech and she was off, which was like great. But again, it's like, I mean, that's awesome. I love Frances McDormand. She's also won 3 times, like in this category too, which is an achievement in and of itself. But I don't know. And I thought she was great in Nomadland. Did I think it was the best performance of the year? No, I didn't, to be honest. So, uh, did you pick her?
Yeah, yeah, no, I had the same as you. I believe I said it's no question, it's a done deal. It's over with. Like just wrap it up.
No, I picked Carrie Mulligan in this
Oh, you
category.
did. Oh,
Yes.
was it I didn't
Are
take
you
one off the board
following?
for
Are
you?
you following the list, or
I
did you
am.
not write
So
it down correctly originally?
I saved space and I got all four names for each one, actor, actress, all in one little tiny thing. So I'm misreading some stuff. I do see Carrie Mulligan here. Okay. So yeah, all right. I'm only down by two now. But so let's see if that changes.
Okay. It's not going to. We only have one category left.
Right.
And
Which
that's
we both got.
yes, that's best actor, which they ended the night on. Joaquin
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix came out, he presented, which again it was weird that they because usually they gender flip, if I'm not mistaken. Usually the best actor winner of the prior year gives best actress and vice versa. But this year they flipped it. And because I think again, they were thinking this is going to be Joaquin Phoenix giving the award to Chadwick Boseman. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Posthumously, of course. And so I honestly, I think there was the calculation of like, well, we don't want Renee Zellweger up there. She talks too
Yeah.
much. She's awkward as hell at these things. Let's
Mm-hmm.
let's get her out of here. She can present best actress to Franny, and that'll be that. And yeah, so Joaquin Phoenix comes out. It does not look like he wants to be there at all. Reads the nominees, and then it's like, and the winner is Anthony Hopkins for the father. You pretty much feel the energy of like, oh, oh, what? Oh, okay. Um, and then he's not there because it was like 4:30 in the morning. He's an 83-year-old man, and I also don't think he really gives a shit about award shows.
Probably
So
not.
he was not. Everybody else was there either on site, like in the room, or on screen via Zoom, from
Hmm.
a satellite location. But he wasn't there. There wasn't like some pre-taped speech, of course. So it was literally like Joaquin Phoenix is like, the winner is Anthony Hopkins. He's not here. We accept this on his behalf, and then throw to Questlove, poor Questlove,
Oh
who's been
God.
DJing the whole night. Who clearly it was going to be like, hey, he has the final word. He's going to wrap it up after Chadwick Boseman wins. But like now we're throwing to Questlove, who has to just be like, and thanks for watching the 93rd annual Oscars. And have a good
Here's some
night.
Dave Brubeck. Good night,
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
Do-dum,
It
do-dum,
was
do-dum, do-dum.
it was truly the most awkward like 5 minutes of that telecast since
Moonlight, La La
yeah,
Land.
since they gave it to La La Land when it really went to Moonlight, which was incredible. Was like the one of the best moments of live television
Oh
I've
yeah,
ever
of
seen
course.
in my
I
entire
that God,
life.
that was so fucking perfect.
Sometimes I just rewatch the clip just to oh god. You like slowly see the La La Land producer like process like it doesn't say her name, and it's like, should I say something? I have to say something, right? Should I say something?
Right,
And
because it's not. Uh, I don't even. I know what that was. I know what happened, but it wasn't like they opened it and said the wrong name. It wasn't like a Travolta, like Adele Dazeem. It wasn't that like messing up someone's name. It's literally like they read La La Land, and that wasn't what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be uh, Moonlight,
no,
or did
literally, it said Moonlight because if I remember correctly, at some point they literally like showed the thing to the camera and it said Moonlight on it. I think Warren Beatty can't see for shit. It's blinding up there on stage, and he just like said whatever
blanked
he
it?
thought it was, or I think Faye Dunaway was up there with him as well. And I
Hey,
don't know
listen,
who said it first or whatever, but yeah, they all of a sudden just blurted it out. I have to go watch that
hey,
clip again.
listen. If all else fails, LMNOP. L comes before M, so La La Land. Go with it.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, it was just kind of deflating, especially after a 3 hour and 20-minute broadcast to just be like, oh, that was a left turn. Okay. And
Yeah,
then boom, it was over. And that was that.
and
Um,
like that, he's gone.
it's gone. Yeah. Let's do some spacey impressions for sure. let's
Yeah.
let's rock those right now. So I will say this. I was already excited to see The Father. I'm even more excited to see it now. Uh
Yeah, as I told you
It's a
last
weird.
night, if it doesn't openly weep in front of whoever I'm watching with it, then it's bullshit. And this entire award thing is all completely bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, just to remind you, the Oscars are bullshit. All award
Right.
shows are bullshit. But
I
uh,
the SAG awards, those are okay.
you're okay with the SAGs.
Listen, if I was an actor, I would care more about the SAGs than the Academy, because the Academy is people who can't do what I do telling me I'm not worthy. But the SAG is people who do what I do, and like we all play pretend and dress up for a living, and it's all of my peers being like, "You played pretend the best of all of us.
You did it the
Or
best, man.
you did it the best. No, you're not. Going overseas to support the troops, or coming up with some new way to stop coronavirus, or coming up with a synthetic way to make food so we can all live forever. But god damn it, you play pretend the best. And so I can appreciate, if I'm an actor, I appreciate the people I'm in the guild with. I mean, we all pay dues into this giant guild to have a card as a screen actor. It'd be like if I was a teamster, or like a welder, and people are like, you weld the best, dude, of the welders guild, you win. Like, okay, cool, thanks. Welded the best. I would care more about that than like the 93rd annual welders convention telling me, yeah, you welded great but not that good you know and it's like everybody said online anyway. It's like half the people who were talking about it was like, I don't think I'm even going to complain about what happened at the Oscars, because I don't think Chadwick Boseman would do that. Like, I knew him well, and I don't think he would really complain. I think he would say, let's just get back at it tomorrow and give it our best. And I
Mhm.
and that's lovely, and that's a nice sentiment. But also, Oscars just fucking stupid, and they don't fucking matter. And you know, I like doing this just to be able to talk shit about the
Right.
so. So I'm sorry, the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Science, whatever the fuck it is, it's bullshit. It does not have its finger anywhere near the pulse of what the rest of us love at all whatsoever.
I mean, I definitely kind of started to think it did after last year. I thought there had been like a dramatic shift, but
No, yeah, no.
Oscar gonna Oscar, I suppose.
The last 2 years have literally been the Oscars trying to cover up like a long history of like being the way they have been and nobody calling them out. And then within the last 2 or 3 years, people who have started to realize what we've all known for a long time, that had a voice, said, yo dude, this is kind of fucked up. Like, what are you doing here? And so the last 2 years, I feel like, have them being trying to like, oh, look at us, we're not what you think we are, we're better, don't, hey, yeah, we got rid of Weinstein, and hey, we got more people of color in here, look at us.
Hmm.
Because it's like I text you last night, the last time a person of color won the like best actor was Forrest Whitaker in 2006, the year I graduated high school.
Well, I mean, if you want to get specific, you're saying the last time a black man
Yeah,
won
yeah, yeah,
Best Actor,
definitely.
person of color. I
Right,
mean, if we want to get technical, it was last year. It was Rami Malek, bro. Like,
right,
but
yeah,
anyways,
but
or
no,
2 years
yeah,
ago, 2 years ago, last year was Joaquin Phoenix, and he's about as white as they come. He was even painted white in that movie, if I
right.
remember correctly.
But I feel like with the DJing and the beard, he's maybe like an honorary, person of color on some level.
Okay,
Who knows?
let's not go there. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, there was a small part of me that was hoping that he was going to be like, Anthony Hopkins couldn't be here, so I accept this award on his behalf, and now I'm going to talk to you about the farming industry for 10 minutes while we wrap up this broadcast. And he just like literally did his exact same speech from the previous year. And he's like, none of you got it, so I'm going to give it to you a second time. Yeah. Anyways,
Just
that
he
was the
starts powdering his face up as he's doing it, like white Joker face paint, as
yeah.
he's telling everyone what.
That was the Oscars 2021. Not particularly exciting affair, and kind of a deflating one at the end. But again, I'm fully prepared to watch The Father and be like, you know what? I do. It's Anthony Hopkins. They're saying it's his best work ever. So, maybe that's the thing. But again, of what I'd seen and what was nominated, 100% Chadwick Boseman made sense. So,
Mhm.
yeah. And here's my thing that I do still have a bit of an issue with is like I feel like some of the people getting upset still have not, like, it's on principle essentially. I don't think a lot of people saw Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I think that's part
No,
of why it did not get the best picture nod, and also why it, like, even though it got those technicals and it was nominated, um it was just odd not to have it up there for best picture or even director possibly. But yeah, so maybe
you,
that should have been a sign in advance that, like, maybe they might have gone another way. But
well, you know what I actually think happened, if I'm being 100% honest?
what's that?
I think that Frank Drebin was chasing Rocco and around the back of the stage around everything. And
Uh-huh.
unfortunately, there was a switcheroo with the envelopes, and Frank didn't know which one to put. So he just put the envelope for, best actor wherever. And really, it was, it got misplaced, essentially. It's a Naked Gun 33 in the third final, the
I
final
have,
end. So
I'm aware.
you forget that
The
you forget
best
that happens
the best
at
sequel
the end of
title
that
of
one.
all time. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Are we done with the Oscars?
Yeah, we could be done with the Oscars.
I mean, any final thoughts? Again,
Um,
overall, I thought the broadcast was moved at a decent clip and was differentiated itself enough from years past to feel a little fresh, under weird circumstances, obviously. And there were some cool moments here and there, and some, like, actually good acceptance speeches. Thomas Vinterberg's jumps to mind for another round. That was pretty emotional. Yao Jun Yun winning for Minari was awesome. One of the better speeches. And those are probably my two favorite, like, off the top of my head. But yeah, not a ton of, like, crazy viral moments or anything. All anybody's going to be talking about is the fact that Chadwick didn't win Best Actor. But I hope, anyways, that that will encourage more people to actually go sit down and watch Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, the one of the movies that I've been recommending to everybody since the fall in my, like, immediate friend group and, like, coworkers, and nobody has watched yet. I think there was a certain amount of resistance of, like, well, this is his last one, and I don't know if I'm
yeah.
emotionally ready to watch that. And so
No,
I
you gotta.
understand that reticence on some people's part, but at the same time, I'm like, well, now's the time. Like, yeah, it's just sitting there on Netflix for you. So do yourself a favor.
Well, the only thing that I take away from it, that like just it bothers me, is that, like, I read somewhere where they talked to Anthony Hopkins about doing the role, and I don't know if I'm grabbing at the wrong headline, but I remember him saying, like, oh, it wasn't. It was. He didn't say it was like, oh, it was easy, but he basically said, like, at his age and the performance and all that, it was like you need to be able to turn things on and get to places you need to get to and all that different stuff. And so, like, hearing that, and if you want to break it down, it's like you could soundbite it and be like, oh, Anthony Hopkins' performance he gave in in The Father was easy. And it's like, okay, cool. So if it was easy, it was easy, great. But like, the person that we all wanted to win gave that performance dying, like
Mm-hmm.
knowing, like dying, like he was dying. Let's just get it out there. And the idea that what is considered like the pinnacle for some people. And again, I know people online have said, I don't even think he would have cared. Like, he would have just been happy to be nominated and be recognized or whatever. But if that is like the penultimate honor you can get, like, or not penultimate, the ultimate honor you can get as a working actor on whatever, whether you started in theater, whether you started in TV, whatever, if the ultimate recognition is you winning an, a golden statue that says best actor, whatever year, the idea that you want to give that to someone who already has one for playing one of the most iconic people, characters ever written, you want to give it to him again over someone who has done a ton for everybody, who has played everybody. Like, I know you basing it on Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but if you're going to award it posthumously, what a chance to honor every other performance that may have never gotten any recognition. You know, I know it was kind of funny at one point where, like, oh my God, he's everybody. He's Jackie Robinson. He's Thurgood Marshall. He's all these different people. He's T'Challa. All this, and that's great. But what a way to honor that one last time, because yeah, Anthony Hopkins is old, but he could probably come back and do it again, and maybe he'll get nominated again. But they're never going to nominate Chadwick Boseman again,
Right.
and it just kind of it pisses me off because it's like you had the chance. If ever there was a chance to interfere and to know what was in the envelope and to stack the deck, you could have done it here, and you could have been winking at the camera the entire time you did it, and no one would have blamed you, and everyone would have appreciated you, and you would have looked like, well, look at that. That was great. They gave him that honor. He deserved it because I truly think he did. I love that performance. That was honestly, dude, it was him and Riz Ahmed. Those only two performances I watched this year. Maybe, or well, Daniel Kaluuya. Or well, no, that was best supporting. I'm sorry, but I'm thinking that's the only two for the best actor that I watched: Riz Ahmed and him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I had to pick, I was going to pick him, and it just sucks. That's like that's going to be the. It would be, hey, he's honored for this. It was, oh yeah, everybody thought it was him, and then they gave it to the old white guy that won the BAFTA a couple weeks ago. You know,
Right.
just like the year they gave it to the French dude who was in The Artist. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, who the fuck is that dude?
Yeah, exactly.
What's he doing these days? What has he done to, earn his place in the world today?
I mean, he was in Deerskin last year. I really like that movie.
Okay.
He's fun. He's good.
As long as he's still around, that's good. And he deserves that.
He's in Wolf of Wall Street for like 10 minutes.
Well, that works. Then that award he got was deserving.
He's around. No, that is one of the worst Oscar years ever, dude. The Artist winning for Best Picture.
That's why I want to know over what.
Oh my God.
And what is it even about? What is The Artist even about? There's a dog in it, right?
Yes. It's silent. I watched it because it won the Oscar. I watched it.
It's about Hollywood.
Yes, it's about the silent film era, and yeah,
Hollywood's sucking its own dick again. Jesus Christ.
I mean, at least it can go to Mank. I know you didn't like Mank.
Listen, I would have. I watched Mank, and I didn't like Mank for like. I didn't get it. It was just like I get what you're saying here. I know the story of this, and it looks neat, and like it's David Fincher, and of course Goldman, and it is all this other stuff. But I'm just wondering why I needed it. You know what I mean? That's all. But I appreciated it. And if they'd have been
clearly, you only needed it for its look and for its production design, and nothing else, apparently. Okay, yeah, weird Oscars for a weird year in film, and we can kind of finally close the book fully on 2020 and 2021 Q1 movies. We're firmly into anything that's coming out now in theaters, on VOD, on streaming, etc. is firmly in this is what will be counted as 2021 movies for our purposes of top 10 list at the end of the year and for the purpose of Oscar consideration. We're well past the Oscar window, which I think ended in like end of March or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So in that vein, we have a new release to discuss. Excuse me.
Which so far would be best visuals 2021. Nothing can beat it. If we're going Oscars right again, Mortal Kombat best visuals thus far 2021.
I'm gonna hugely quibble with you. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm just kidding.
We literally just reviewed Godzilla versus Kong like a couple weeks ago.
Did that mean you're saying
a 2021 movie? Yes.
All right. Okay. All right.
I was just reminding people, like, mind share wise, like I'm gonna watch The Father and then pretty much I'm done playing catch up on anything from last year, is what I mean. Like actively, I feel like I've seen everything that I like, quote unquote, needed to see.
I got you.
So yeah, you ready to talk Mortal Kombat?
We certainly can.
Okay. Watch this one at home, I'm assuming. Yes. No private theater for this one?
Negative.
Okay.
Affirmative. Yes. No private screening.
to set the table a bit, I'm sure we've talked about it on previous episodes. Um, we're children of the 90s. Uh,
Yes.
I myself am 30. You are? I was
30.
going to say, do you not, or you do not reveal that publicly?
Oh no, I'm 33. I turned 30.
Genuinely struggling to remember how old you are.
Well, because I
Yeah,
always
your
think
birthday is
like
in January. It's
right,
2021, and you were born in
right now.
1988. So yes, you are indeed 33.
Yeah, well, when you turn 31 here, there's that October to January where you're only 2 years apart, and now we're three.
Yeah.
So I forget what time's what. Also, the
Anyways,
computer in front of me, I don't do math that well. Like, yes, credit
I
union, but
don't do
yes,
math. I don't do math real good.
I don't do
Yeah.
math off the clock. You got to pay me to do the math. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Crunch the
Well,
numbers, look at the interest rates.
as we all know, there's no payment involved here. We're doing this for the love of the game. So
For
no more
love
math.
of the fucking
No more
game.
math talk. Let's keep it moving. We are children of the 90s. We grew up playing Mortal Kombat. The first Mortal Kombat movie was an event when it came out. We
Like, I think
anxious. We had a promo VHS that
that had
featured. It was basically special features that kind of ended with like the trailer for the movie. But before it, there was like probably looks terrible now, but like early computer
CG, yes, early CG, Kung
CG
Lao fighting Goro for
and Sub-Zero fighting Scorpion, obviously. And
yes.
I think I have that tape in my closet right now. I don't know who
I
produced that. I don't know where that came from, but we must have watched that. I like dozens of time just in prep for the movie coming out.
right.
Yes.
Do you know that the Blood and Thunder comic books that we have, Mortal Kombat, that first edition, do you know what
Yeah.
that sold for last month?
How much?
$450
Wow.
at fair market. That's fair market. That's not any
Do
like
you know
private.
where those are? Any of
They're
our issues?
right over there in
Well,
my closet.
where's our check, man?
Um,
Where's the dough?
don't worry about it. I'm sending that, and I've got two more that I want to run by you. I'll send you the fair market value on them. But basically, there's the big CGC like collection thing out of I think their headquarters is actually in Sarasota, Florida, where I always go to vacation. If they have a local drop off, I'm going to take them there. If not, I'm going to put them in the mail. But I'm going to send them off to be like inspected,
Appraised.
graded on a numbers scale.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a couple of ones I've seen that between you and I know we have. Like I know there's a first edition Batman and Robin the animated series one. That one too is upwards of $600. Brand like that's a 9.8. But even like the 8.0 and the 9.0 ones, those are still going for a good bit of money. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that
All
and
right.
like have them rated so that they can be sold properly based off of their grading. So,
We'll do it by all
but yeah,
means.
yeah, and I think it's only like $20. You basically $20 a book, but you know, if you did decide to resell it and sold it for $100 because it's worth way more than that, you could still make your money back. But I just say all that to say that Mortal Kombat was pretty much fucking everywhere.
Yes. Okay. So we were huge into the first movie. We played the games. I think we've fallen in and out of it over the years. I don't know about you. I haven't played every single one in the franchise, but
Oh, I have.
the I should have assumed as much. Excuse me. Uh, but the last several I've been in for the crossovers as well, the Injustice,
The
like
reset.
DC, all that sort of stuff. Yes. I was pretty pumped going into this just because it was like everything we kept hearing was like, this is encouraging. It's all stunt performers. It's people who are actually doing it. It looks like, they're actually going to put some thought into the fights. Looks
Mm-hmm.
like we're going to see some people we never got to see before, etc. Started getting more and more pumped by the trailers. I was very excited to sit down and watch this thing. And overall, I had an absolute blast with Mortal Kombat
Fuck yeah.
2021. Uh, yeah, I don't know where you want to start, overall thoughts, whatever, but if you haven't watched it already, we highly recommend that you do. We're gonna go ahead and spoil the hell out of it. But we, as longtime MK fans and fans of that first movie, and again, more ironic fans of Annihilation, which is
Hey,
inarguably
we
kind of a
did listen. We did go to the theater for Annihilation.
we sure did.
You, me, and Mom went to that tiny movie theater that burned down, and we watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
We did. And the luster,
Mo-
the bloom was a little bit off the rose already. It,
Literally 5 minutes in,
yes,
the minute that they killed Johnny Cage, Mom was like, "Well, wait, what?" And that was it.
almost done. Yeah.
Yeah. And if Mom checks out, uh, you know, good luck.
It's time to go.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
we should have just left right then.
Uh, Not to mention, you're like, is that James Remar? What happened to the Highlander? They got a
Right.
fucking warrior instead. I wanted the Highlander.
And then isn't it
What is Dexter's dad doing up in this bitch?
no, what is it's
What?
the older brother from Airborne is fucking uh Johnny Cage.
Right?
Conrad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of his first name. But yeah. Out of the blue. Like I guess
It's also a new Sonya. There's like so many recasts right off the bat, but it's like Robin Shu stuck around.
I mean, what
Katana.
else was yeah.
Was that Talissa Soto? Did
Yes.
I just pull that? Oh, dude.
I think you did.
Yeah. Uh, what else was she in? What am I thinking of? She was in some other big New Line movie.
God, that's gonna kill me. It wasn't and it wasn't Beverly Hills Ninja. That was Robin Show, obviously.
Right.
That's gonna bother the hell out of me. I'm gonna look
Something
it up.
else. We'll think of it. We'll figure it out. Okay. This movie, though, this Mortal Kombat. What did you think, bro?
I um I was really, really, really fucking blown away. Like I told you my rating, but that's just because I've been trying to. It's License to Kill, Noah. We're thinking of License to Kill,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
and you're probably thinking Ballistics X versus Sever. That's where
Of
you
course. Of course.
and I'm thinking Spy Hard.
Oh, of course, Spy Hard. No, that's probably actually what I was thinking of 90s wise.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Moving along.
Um, I really loved that it was like, okay, we're gonna kind of anchor it here to the whole Scorpion thing.
Mhm.
We're gonna anchor it all to Scorpion's story because I did watch the Warner Brothers animated Scorpion's Revenge. It's kind of like a whole thing of like,
It's available on HBO Max right now as well. Yes.
right. I which I dig. I like that. I don't know if there's any more in that same animation style, but I love that it was kind of in the same vein of Invincible. It was just like brutal as hell.
Well, we should talk about this. Going back to that era, and if I'm misidentifying you, by all means, please correct me. You're more of a
Mhm.
Scorpion dude.
Yeah.
More of a Scorpion guy.
Mm-hmm.
Always been more of a Sub-Zero guy, obviously.
Right.
I like the blue. When we did Double Dragon, I was going to be Billy, of course,
Right.
obviously. And you're Jimmy. You're in the red.
Because, but you're younger, so you kind of have to be Billy. Jimmy was the older brother.
I mean, I just wanted to be blue, so I didn't really care how that happened. I just wanted the blue. But if you're telling me it's like, well, of course, that's the only reason I would want to be it. Like, but I get it. Mark Dacascos instead of Scott Wolf. I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
I get it.
Speaking of that, I need to watch One Night in Bangkok. That's out now.
Yeah. And then maybe followed by Bangkok Dangerous if you want to get Bangkok Dangerous with it.
Yeah.
Just a thought. Okay. None of these jokes are playing for you?
They are. I'm digging it. Yeah. One night. Yeah. The hard man humble. I got it. Not much between despair and ecstasy. I got you.
Something about an Oriental city.
City
Something like that.
City's getting. Yep. Just like we didn't know what we were getting with Mortal Kombat. Crazy, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think I don't know, dude. I think we're in an era where they're given, it gives me more hope for future video game movies as well. But they're given a little more carte blanche to like, hey, we can make stuff that is more geared towards the people who like this shit. Like,
Right.
we don't have to necessarily bring everybody to the party. If we make it enough for a hardcore base to satisfy them, then you know what, we'll probably pick up some people along the way. And the general fan reaction of this movie, I feel like, has been through the roof.
Well,
Um,
see that's the one thing I will say. It is the most hey, hey, hi. I'd like a sequel, please. Can I get a sequel, please? Hey, can
and
I? It is the most
and
sequel written and driven movie I've seen in a long time.
to
Thank
that point,
that they're trying to have another one, you know.
yeah, to that point, my rating I think was, you said 8.5 and I was like, I'm right there with you. And my version of being right there with you on your rating is to be about, a point and a half lower. So I was 7.75 on this. And I had a blast. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I had the exact same thought where it was like, it's so clearly, you know, laying the ground for what I think would be a pretty amazing franchise
Right.
if they let them do this. I appreciated the restraint to not shoot their wad, if you will, with too many characters, trying
Right.
to stuff too many references in. That's kind
Mm-hmm.
of the downfall of Annihilation in a lot of ways, is it's like, okay, well, we did the first one and now there's all these other characters, so like we got to just put in as many villains as possible. And it's like, well, you're not that these movies are necessarily about giving depth to the character, even though this movie kind of manages to do that. But um I feel like Annihilation, just you get nothing. They just say their names and they're kind of vaguely costumed like they are
No,
in the
they
game,
don't.
and then they
They don't
fight.
even say their names. Half of Annihilation is the voice coming and going, being, you know,
Motaro.
uh, Motaro, Ermac,
Yeah.
or Reptile, and then it's like that fight. Yeah, the thing I appreciate about the
Sindel,
yeah,
which is the mom from the OC, right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think that's right.
that is right. Um, what was I gonna say? The thing I can appreciate now is I think what it can do is you can have a really intense character driven, like people you care about, full on tournament movie. Like, if you think about it, you fleshed out and given me enough groundwork that, like, I care about the four people we still have left at the end of the day.
Right.
So, if in the next film you bring in one or two more to round out like a six-person team, and you give me enough of them backstory of how you got there with them in the beginning, and then you let them all.
Video game. Do you remember
Yes,
that?
yes,
Very difficult. Very
yes, very hard,
difficult. I would love to give that
notably
one
hard.
another
Like,
crack. Yes.
notably, like people have mentioned, like it's
And
no
one of the wildest biopics ever made. We should
one of
definitely
the
talk about
best,
we should
one
definitely
of the
talk about that
best.
movie at some point.
Yes,
Anyways, so I love Liu Kang as a kid in the first game. And then of course I didn't know any of the lore. I didn't know they were cousins until like some of these later games. Shit. Um,
right.
I want to say around the time of like, what's the one you had for the Dreamcast? Like
Gold
the first one you would have had for the Dreamcast. And that's the first like kind of 3D, like
four
we're
would have been
starting
that.
to, okay,
Four was the first 3D, and then gold was basically four for the Dreamcast.
that's right.
The same way that Ultimate was like three, but with more
And
people.
that's like Shinnok as the main baddie there. Or is that
Right.
Quan Chi?
It's Shinnok.
Which one is when does Quan Chi come in? Which one is that?
He comes in at four.
Okay.
Or no, he's around. Is he around in three? He may be around in three. Before Shinnok is the main bad guy. Shao Kahn's essentially Shao Kahn's father.
Gotcha. Yeah, clearly we didn't brush up on all of this beforehand. And again, I feel
There's a
like
ton of fucking lore.
the storylines have changed throughout the games as well. And like the whole point of 11 is it's all time travel. So it's like there's old versions of the characters and like,
Right.
people who are dead continuity wise are able to come back, that sort of thing. Which I, as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, it would be kind of cool if all of a sudden like Bridget Wilson and like Lyndon Ashby or like Robin Shue, any of the original cast or like Christopher Lambert just like randomly showed up as, you know, their incarnation from the previous movie. I thought that would have been
Yeah,
cool. But
that would have been
anyways,
dope.
we've gotten way off topic. I adore Kung Lao. I loved his depiction in this movie. I thought he had some great comedic beats, interplay with
Hmm.
Kano. Kano, the comedic saving grace of the entire movie by far.
Kano is the only reason we don't have Johnny Cage.
Okay.
No,
I thought that was an incredibly smart decision to not have
no,
Johnny
no,
Cage
no.
in this movie.
When he came in to test, they loved him so much that they went with, oh, we'll go with Kano, and we won't worry about Johnny Cage right now, because it was like the better that serves the story better.
I think
Whole
that is
thing about
honestly the
this, that was
best
perfect.
decision they made in all of
Yes,
this. You don't have some forced like half rom-com romantic angle with Sonya that you have to get done with like in the context of this movie where you're essentially setting up the new universe. You
right.
also don't have I also like the anchoring the outsider character who we haven't talked about at all, but he's a UFC fighter, kind of down on his luck essentially. But
Hmm.
notably, he has a wife and kid, which I did
Right.
not expect to be part of the setup of
Oh,
this at
me.
all.
Yeah. I mean,
And
yeah.
seems cliched, but totally works for like the setup they needed for this. But again, leading towards like there's no they don't have that angle with Sonya Blade with him either. There's none of that. Like they remove any love story sort of aspect, which the the chemistry in the original movie works, but it also is just like it just seems arbitrary. They're like,
Right.
oh, okay, well, we have three people here, and obviously she can't get with the Asian guy because, like, God forbid we let that happen. So we'll pair her with the douchey Hollywood guy, right?
Right.
Even though I guess that was canonical at that point in the games, which again, what are we talking about? Like booklets here, where they kind of tell you some backstory,
No, dude,
fan lore.
you gotta play all and read all the text and like you gotta beat the game with everybody's character to like see what happens to them after the tournament and stuff like that. It's wild. But yeah, I think the making it an outsider, but again, we're going with the Scorpion angle, he's the long line descendant of
Of
Scorpion.
Scorpion's bloodline, yes.
So of course he would have a family.
Hanzo Hasashi.
Just like Hanzo had a family. It writes itself. But I think it makes it, first off, I feel like, again, we only have two other movies to compare it to, but everything about Mortal Kombat all centers around the idea that Earthrealm has to fight in a tournament, and if it loses, we're done. So to build up and start your new movie essentially with no tournament, to never even make it to a tournament, I thought was
Again,
great,
another great decision.
perfect move.
Yes.
It's just Shang Tsung being like, you know what, I can do this. I know one's stopping me. The only way they're going to stop me is if they fight me, and we know I'm going to win. So let's do this. And he just decides, fuck it. We'll make sure they don't even get to the tournament, so we don't even have to worry about fighting.
Right.
Perfect.
The
Perfect.
same sort of stuff that like Kerry Tagawa's Shang Tsung is trying to pull in the earlier version, the original, if you will. But
Right.
but that's actually like the plot here. And I love that, like you're saying, because there's the total setup to like actually have a full-on tournament movie at some point, which I think would be even more interesting than the way it's depicted in the first movie.
Oh
And
no,
of
that's
course,
what I was gonna say,
Annihilation is also like the rules are off. There's no
dude.
structure here at all. Like,
No, I totally wrote it. I didn't get to finish earlier. The second movie is a buildup where we care about what happens to every fighter that we've met. Maybe
right.
we maybe we have like an art lean guy who's there that we don't know, that they like, oh dude, how'd you hear about this? And he's like, Oh, I don't know. I'm just kind of here, man. Not realizing like, the fate of the world is on his shoulders. Because that was the only thing that ever stood out about the original. It's like there's other people here fighting from Earth that have
Right.
no idea they're fighting for the fate of Earth. But
Right. They just think it's a normal tournament,
yeah, like
whatever,
normal to
until
get
they
on that black dragon boat, go all the way into this void and not know where you are. But I get it. So the second movie is just the tournament, and it hinges on we win, and it's like great high note, but you pull a Return of the you pull a Empire Strikes Back, and the very end of the second one is, oh, we got to take an L because, well, Shao Kahn doesn't give a shit. He's still coming to invade Earth, and like
Mhm.
boom, and in a quick succession, people that we've cared about this entire movie who we're so happy have made it, boom, 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 they're dead or they're incapacitated or whatever. We don't know what happens to them, and it ends. And then it sets up your final third, like Mortal Kombat 3, the world's emerging, everybody
Mhm.
everywhere, you're fighting in different landscapes with a merger that's about to happen, and all bets are off. And we finally it gives us time to get uh, Julius Hafthor Bjorkensen in shape to be Shao Kahn.
There we go.
Yep.
I love it. Um,
You heard it here, folks. Copyright, trademark, everything.
so we can jump back in whenever you want to,
Oh,
but
yeah, we know. No, fine. Go
you're
ahead.
talking about the hopefully inevitable sequel.
Yes.
And the very final teaser in this movie, this the stinger, if you will,
Yes.
they're going to give us Johnny Cage,
Right.
who eh, budget is no object. Who do you want in that role? Because I have one that is seems like such a no-brainer.
Sasha Mitchell.
What?
Sasha Mitchell.
Okay.
He's a little older, but I don't know what we're going for. If we're going for younger Johnny Cage, then it's going to be Camp Gigante. If it's older, then it's
What what was the who help me with some of
Cam,
these names, but
the kid from Twilight. He was in Never Back Down. The
Giganet or
Gaganet, whatever his
however we
name is.
say it.
I
Okay.
don't know what his name is. Cam G, whatever his name is. I don't know. He's good looking. He can fight. Him, that would be my Johnny Cage pick. If not him, then like, uh, yeah, Sasha Mitchell. If we're going older,
Okay.
because he was the kickboxer. He was also Cody on Step by Step. He could do douchey, stupid, whatever, like washed up TV actor. But he could also he can actually fight too, for real.
Okay.
Because I think that's the whole thing with any of this is like a lot of stuff. It's like you saw like the Shang-Chi trailer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That kid, the actor, can fight, and you will see every fight with him. And
Right.
it's like quick cut, like, you know, oh, Bernthal? Could Bernthal be it? Is he too gritty?
You're just it's
I
staring
have
you
no
right in
idea.
the face, and I'm so shocked that this didn't immediately come to your mind. I told you budget is no object.
Timothy Chalamet? Budget's
I
no option.
think this is perfect casting. It's so smart, it's dumb. You know what I'm saying? It's so perfect, it's stupid, and they shouldn't do it. There's
Who?
only one person who can play Johnny Cage, dude.
Who's that?
Ryan fucking Reynolds. I can't believe I'm saying it, but Van City Reynolds himself, dude.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
How is that?
It's perfect. I'll give you that, but I don't know. He might have too much going on.
It's what I'm saying. It seems like such an obvious, like, of course, if you could get him, right? They're gonna have a much bigger budget, I think. I think they're gonna give them the budget. And I think what you need to bring in that next, like, you know, wave, you take the R-rated franchise IP king right now and you bring him into your movie as one of the most iconic characters in video game history. And what do? Just like you were saying, you kill him off. Like at the
He's in this,
beginning
so
of your
he's in.
third, you think
He's
yes, you pay him $20 million to be in one of your movies. And everybody thinks that, oh my god, it's right, it's Ryan Reynolds. He's gonna be in this franchise for like forever. And then at the
Yeah.
beginning of the third one, you kill him off.
Perfect.
You
What's he
just you just give him
what are you
some
gonna pay
back
him for
end deal. You don't have to pay him that much up front.
so the second
Maybe he's a fan of the game. Maybe he give him a
maybe,
break.
maybe. But
I like some of your other picks, to be clear. I just like I thought that was such a no brainer, but then I'm like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. Maybe it's a bad pick.
well, I mean, I think you could do that. You could do, I mean, there's a ton of options. I mean, if I'm having I'm trying to think. I'm not up on there's and admittedly, you probably have to agree with me. There's not a whole lot of like white guys doing karate action movie stuff a lot anymore. There is
No, there's like Scott Atkins, I think, is like
yeah.
the big guy in that
Oh,
front
we how about this?
nowadays. But yeah.
I got it.
Which he actually would be a very good Johnny Cage and would within the context of who's in this franchise as of now, he would be still a big addition. Nowhere near the level of like a Reynolds, for instance, but that would be a big deal if he was Johnny Cage. People would be excited about that.
But what if we take it a step further and we just flip it all on its head? We didn't all we saw was the name Johnny Cage, right? We didn't see anything.
Right.
All right, Michael J. White.
I was gonna Michael J. White came to mind, and then also I started thinking about the energy of Jamie Foxx in Any Given Sunday as Willie Beeman, and I'm like,
Yes.
that's the if he could tap back into that energy, that's like a Jamie Foxx I could see playing Johnny Cage, which I think would work as well.
If you're going doofus angle, like not doofus, but like can fight, but also like is like a dude. This may sound a little bit too much, and it may not be the right fit, but I'm thinking like you could train Chris Pratt how to fight.
Chris
And
Pratt, you said?
yeah, it's like a.
I don't think he's.
I don't think
I don't
he's.
think he has the douchiness
I
that's
think he can.
inherent to Johnny
I
Cage
don't.
as a character.
I don't. I mean, you've seen Wanted. He was that. He's
That's
been
true. He's been so far outside of that mode though for so
that.
long.
Which is why it's perfect to pull him back into it. Hey man, we just want you to be like that douchey kind of like guy you had in supporting roles. Give us a little bit of Andy Heart of Gold from Parks and Rec, but also you're gonna get super ripped and learn how to do a shadow kick for one movie because we're gonna kill you off on the third one. You know, just don't tell anybody. That's part of your contract.
I mean, my other again like would never do it, but then never say never because he's making a Wolfman movie right now. But um,
Benicio del Toro.
no, uh, it was going to be just a guy can dream, but such an obvious pick for me. But it's like it's Gosling in like nice guy slash Big Short mode. Like
Yeah.
he could knock this out of the park too. And then of course, I mean, you don't see a ton of it, but if he was just in the fighting shape of like only God forgives, like that's a convincing Johnny Cage. I'm just saying. Johnny Cage is not this like roided out freak, you know.
Right. No, he isn't. And that's the thing. I feel like Johnny Cage be like our main character Cole and like into MMA. Johnny Cage has to stand on his feet the entire time he fights. He
Right.
can't, if he's anything, he's like Muay Thai and like high kicking, like my feet are everything. I'm not going to lose my ground. If I'm on my back, I'm done. Like that kind of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Not much this, just Krog McGraw, whatever.
Sorry. I was just like, dude, what if like Christian Bale is just a huge Mortal Kombat fan?
Oh my god, dude!
And he's
If
just
you
like, I've always wanted to play Johnny Cage. I that's now I'm just doing Michael Caine. I don't even know what that was, but he's just like, no, I've always come here and fuck with your lights. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find it. I don't know if I have a bail,
I don't think many people do because he can go anywhere.
but that's what I'm saying. And what if he's just like, I've always been a huge, huge fan of Johnny Cage from the Mortal Kombat franchise. I would I would love to play him. Like he
Yeah.
approaches them. That would be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyways, dream casting again. I say it's Reynolds, dude. That just makes the most sense. If you could get him in there, that would be like the perfect synergy for like what you need to take your second movie to like a even bigger box office.
Well,
You
yeah,
got
and
to
it'd be
get some
nice to have.
star power in there.
It'd be nice to have an X Force reunion. That'd be pretty fun.
Of course. But I
So,
thought the casting of mostly stunt performers, essentially, like first and foremost, um, and people who have been in a lot of different fight films, I thought surprisingly, the script is not Shakespeare, but these actors all like hold their own pretty well for the tone and everything. It's not,
oh, the minute he was like, "Wait, are you sure about that last part?" I mean, look, they even spelled combat wrong. Are you
yes,
serious?
that's
That's when
when
I was
you
like,
know
"This
it's on the
movie
right
knows
track.
exact. This movie
But when
fucks.
I
It
was gonna
knows what
say,
it's doing."
but when it truly was like almost transcendent for me is when Liu Kang and Kano are training together and he's leg sweeping him. And he's literally like, try that again. He does it again. And then he's like, he does it a third time and he's like, do you know any other
Do you know any
moves?
other moves?
And
Yes,
that was I was literally like, that was some of the most
that's
organic,
every.
that was
That
one of the
is
most organic meta
yes,
commentary laughs I've ever had in anything like this. I was just like, this is like
because
note perfect. This is how
every
you do this movie in a way that both takes itself seriously, but not
but
too
winks,
seriously
but
and knows
is still winking at
exactly
the
what it
camera
is. Yes.
because
Without
it
without leaning too far into that direction where I lose all sense of like investment in it at the same time. It was very well balanced, surprisingly, not something I expected to be saying about the Mortal Kombat movie.
right.
Yeah. So, uh, but yeah, I mentioned Kung Lao earlier. He was a huge highlight for me. The moment when they've like broken into the secret training chamber essentially and try and sabotage them. And that's a non-game character, right? The winged female,
She may be in
one of the later
like
games. I think there's
one of
one
the
or
later
two
games.
characters that are essentially movie only. But anyways, there's been a bit of setup of her before. I don't know the character's name, but yeah, she's like a winged vampire beast sort of thing. I thought initially it was supposed to be like a weird version of Shiva, but then it wasn't.
Right.
So, anyways, they've set her up before. She comes like flying in, and you're like, oh god, this is gonna be a pretty killer fight or whatever, right? No, Kung Lao, whose hat is buried in the rock at the moment, like basically snatches her up, starts riding her, like pulls his hat back into his hand, throws it down, and then rides her face through her entire body through the hat,
Just like
like a
yeah,
straight up fatality, like bisects her down the middle, and then says, of course, flawless
fatalist
victory.
victory.
And it is truly a flawless victory. She did not land a single hit, and he just
Yes.
like perfectly pulled off a perfectly executed move. And it was the equivalent of like an Indiana Jones sort of scene where it's like, I'm expecting like a really cool fight right here, but you just delivered in a whole other way because no, you just had him do some like badass shit. Now, of course, they give him that awesome, cool hero moment because within about 30 seconds, Shang Tsung is like, it's soul sucking time and
Yes.
swallows his soul. And I was genuinely so upset. I was like
Yes.
shocked how much investment I had, but I was like, dude, I fucking love Kung Lao. They finally gave him to us in a movie. He was badass. He was funny. And he was like the cool Liu Kang, which is basically what you realize when you're playing the games. Is like, oh, he's pretty much Liu Kang, but like even cooler. And he's got a fucking hat, dude. That it's all about the
Yeah.
hat. But anyways, um, yeah, when they were like, nope, and I'm like, of course, video game logic and all of that. I'm like, all right, guys, well, movie two, you got to go get that soul back from Shang Tsung and
Yeah.
let's release him, and then Kung Lao can be in the rest of the franchise. So please do that because I thought he was great. Um, Love Liu Kang. Kano again stole the show in terms of comedy. I thought a great Sonya Blade. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I love the arc of like she's not, you know, a chosen one. The whole like branding thing, all of that stuff, like it worked. And I know it's all like bullshit, just movie stuff for the lore, but like it all
But
tracked, it
it
all worked. And
but
the
it
concept of like if you
it was
kill
in the
somebody
other
with
movies
them,
though.
the symbol transferring
Not
is
the
that
transferring, but you remember in non annihilation, there was a couple times that like they killed fighters and the
in the
dragon thing would
dragon
fall
like
off.
released
Yeah.
from them? Yes.
Right. So like it to me, that's a wink and a nod at like, hey, remember this weird thing that like just randomly
They
popped up
just
in the
threw
second
into
movie?
Annihilation. Yeah.
We're going to use this as a main plot point and show you how it's done. I feel like this entire movie was stunting on Annihilation while trying to be like, hey, I got you, Mortal Kombat. Don't worry. I got the same name. I can carry you. Trust me, I got you. But fuck you, Annihilation. I'm stunting on you. That's what this entire movie was.
Yeah, it's really it's
You want to
honestly
see how you want to see how you bring in other characters people's never heard of.
it's
You bring in
amazing.
three of them to fight this little sequence right before what you just talked about with Kung Lao happens. You bring in three people. You know at least one of them with Cabal if you've played the games at all. The rest you can assume.
Oh, dude, do you
Oh,
know
but
who
they
dude, Cabal? Do
yeah,
you know who
you don't
the
got to
voice
throw in
of
18,000 different.
do you know who the voice of
Who?
Cabal
No,
was?
who was it?
It was fucking Daniel Harriman, the guy who played Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and in
Oh my god,
Mindhunter. That
that's
was
what
the
I was.
voice of Cabal, dude. I thought he was great. Another highlight for sure.
Well, he was like, "Oh yeah, I love it when they scream right before it happens." I'm like, "What the fuck are you
Oh yeah,
doing?
dude. No,
What voice
so
is
like
this?"
just twisted out of nowhere. Okay, so back to our like our outsider character who eventually they all have to find their arcana, which is essentially
Yes,
like you got to find your special move. Um,
right.
and he does so by fighting Goro,
Which
uh,
I thought was perfect.
in a pretty badass sequence. And he essentially um he gets like striker arms, essentially, right?
Right,
Striker with the batons.
right. But I think there's another one. There was a blind guy, a blind character, not Rain or Rico. It was somebody else who was blind but had those.
The
He had
blind
regular.
samurai,
It
Kenshi.
was a. Was it Kenshi that had those, or was it?
Kenshi is
There's
one of my favorite of like the new like last decade of Mortal
maybe.
Kombat characters. No, he's awesome. And then like one of his kids is in 10, I think.
Well, maybe you. Well, maybe that's perfect. Dude. Why don't you just call it in that like in his day job, he has to become a cop, and they just instead of Cole, his name is Striker. Like that's just what they.
I just like that's just immediately
Perfect.
what I thought of though was Striker. But
Yeah.
what did you think of that? There was the whole buildup of like what's his Arcana going to be, and obviously he's not like a canon character. So the reveal of like, okay, well he's got like kind of basically Jax's arms, but on his entire body,
Oh no,
and then
dude.
he's got these like
It's no. They reveal it within like the first 2 minutes. The dude can take a beating. That's what he gets paid to do.
right.
So the
Here's
whole
what I
thing with.
was building towards though. Yes, the whole thing is like the armor absorbs the pain, the energy, and then he
Mhm.
can like use that energy essentially to make himself a more powerful fighter. I feel like that happens in that Goro scene, and then they lose all of like tracking that happening to the suit. Like it that does not come into play in any of the later fights.
He's
The
only in
whole
one other.
like the
He's
whole
in.
well, I mean, yeah,
He's
the
in.
movie is close to wrapping up after that.
He's in one more, and I'll give you this. He's also in sub-zero temperatures. So
Okay.
maybe it has something to do with
Okay.
that.
Okay. Touche. Touche.
He's not
Uh
outside where the air can be absorbed. He's in a controlled climate,
yeah.
a colder
But
controlled climate.
they learn how to work as a team essentially as they have to. Kano betrays them. Huge
Oh yeah,
shocker. Not surprising at all. That's where they lose Kung Lao. But then they get their shit together essentially, and they've defeated everybody. It's down to just Sub Zero, who they were like, we'll save him for last. We'll take him on together. Um,
but
but
surprise, Sub-Zero goes for his family first,
yes,
just like he did his descendant
yes,
or his ancestor.
he freezes him up real good, and then Scorpion and Sub Zero got to throw down one last time, but Scorpion also now has his descendant there to help him, and yeah,
Because they make it they made a big point again, and this is I think people aren't appreciating it. Low key, some of like really fucking good writing. He says like uh I took Hanzo's air and I hid him away where Hanzo couldn't find him, right?
mm-hmm.
And then he gives him the uh whatever the dagger or shuriken, whatever it is. It says like this has got the blood of your ancestor on it. Use it and you'll feel his power, whatever.
Oh,
And it's not
just so,
until this moment that he uses that in the fight with Sub-Zero that like Scorpion is able to come back from the nether realm and be like, oh, Bihan, it's on, motherfucker. Let's do this.
mm-hmm.
knowing that, and that like that's his descendant. It just the idea of like the descendant, his offspring had to be hidden away so that maybe Scorpion didn't come find him sooner, and maybe like in a demon jealous rage thing, kill the child and bring it to the
Right.
underworld with him, whatever. Like, okay, I'm just going to keep this lineage going, and eventually it's going to get to the point where, you know, if this dagger gets used again and blood jumps on it, he'll know to come back. He's been searching. The idea that he's in the nether realm searching all these years, these 400 some odd years, and then boom, he's back, and they're like decked out in the perfect, like, samurai. And I'm completely forgetting this. One of my favorite things when they meet in that opening, when Hanzo says, "I don't know what you're saying, but don't
Hmm.
take that as like a weakness," because they clearly tell you one is speaking Chinese,
Right.
one is speaking Japanese. That is that was like I could have ended it there and been like, this is perfect. Like, you
No,
take
dude,
the
I mean,
time to
that's
tell me
within the
that they're
first within the
yeah,
first 5 minutes, I basically was like, we're in good hands. And essentially I was like,
right.
they're taking this seriously enough. And when I just it just look the tiniest thing of like, hey, so the tip of Scorpion spear. So
Mhm.
that's actually like his wife's gardening tool who
Yeah.
was murdered. And you're like, oh, dude, this is already like more thought than anybody put into any character motivation in either of the previous two films. Now, I don't say that to denigrate the original, because here's where I'm at the end of the day. I still have a ton of nostalgia for the first one. I absolutely love it. I think this is a great start of what could possibly be a beautiful, beautiful franchise. And I want more from them. Give them a little bit more money. I thought overall the effects, everything, pretty solid. I felt like it dipped here and there. There was a few things that felt maybe a little rushed, or like, hey, if they had a little more time, budget, etc., could have been a little more polished. But overall, it was fun, man. It was a blast. I look forward to watching it again. Um, just a good time.
Yeah.
And
Again, we talked
I
about how
also
good
like
Kano was.
kind of establishing, in the same way that the John Wick franchise has popularized the idea of like, let's take these guys who have worked on these types of movies forever and like let them actually have full creative control. Like, let the stuntmen actually film the action sequences because
Hmm.
they know how best to capture it. That whole aspect of like, let's go with fighters and performers first and then
Hmm.
tailor a story that works well around their strengths and doesn't like highlight any of their weaknesses, essentially. If
Hmm.
they can exist in this mode, to me it's immediately, while I didn't think the actual fights themselves, none of them were like Raid or John Wick levels of like, oh my god, how did they do that? um they were all compelling in their own kind of like unique ways, and I look forward to them continuing to like up the ante as they move on through the
Yeah,
series.
because when they teleport Jax and old boy, and like we're gonna get Jax slapping his face off, like the fatality he does, I
Right.
appreciated that. But I also was thinking, bro, you're in the pit. You have to uppercut him,
Oh
and he
yeah,
has to
he's got to
fall
go down
down
there.
into the spikes. But it didn't happen. I'm like, all right, that's cool. We can save it for the tournament. That's fine.
Right.
It's a tournament only venue. To the point that like with it, the aesthetic of everything I thought was great. It was vaguely like, okay, this is eerily reminiscent of the first movie, but also definitely ties into a game somewhere in there. Not any
Mm-hmm.
specific game, but like an amalgamation of them essentially. And again, we talked about Kano, but just the comedy of him, like the fact that he's like, I fucking hate gnomes, and then that's what she uses to stab him in the face when he
Uh-huh.
gets when he gets his fucking laser beam. Like he can't, you know. And he was like, "All right, no Harry Potter bullshit." When they were like, when they go fight, as that's happening, he's like, "Is that the only movie you know?" You know,
Mm-hmm.
and just like I think whoever, I don't know if that actor has been anything else, but if he hasn't, he should be, and if he has been, I have to go find it because I thought that was fucking perfect.
He was definitely the highlight. And honestly,
It's gonna
I know she technically killed him, but I'm like, I kind of need resurrected Kano like coming back for revenge on Sonya Blade in the sequel,
mm-hmm.
because it's just like, You need that energy. Now, granted,
Well,
you
no,
bring in
no,
Johnny Cage, and that's
no.
gonna take care of all of
Cle-
that. But
clearly, you realize where she stabbed him, right?
in the eye.
But he had no gold or no silver plating over
Oh,
the
of
eye
course.
as
Yeah,
he
no, the
has had
that's
in
right.
every
Oh,
other game.
you're so right, brother. Excuse
Yeah.
me.
But you're going
Of
to have
course
to
he's
find
coming back.
somebody. He has to.
Yeah.
You're going to have to find somebody who can match. And again, that's why I think your Reynolds pick works. You're going to have to find somebody that matches that level of funny. Not
Hmm.
trying, it felt effortless. I don't know if those lines were written for him. I don't know if they let him go. If they were like, here, man, put this outfit on, go sit in a corner. This is who Kano is. He's batshit crazy. And this is what's going to be asking him in this movie. Go figure it out for 20 minutes and then come back and let's shoot this. I don't know how they got him to get there, but that shit felt effortless. It did not feel like he had to sit and read a script and learn it.
Yeah.
As quick as he's hitting it, he stole the show
Hmm.
in every possible way you should. In a movie where there's a brand new Raiden to talk about, um, who I thought was pretty good.
Well, and I
Is
thought importantly, not overused. Like again, the restraint with a lot of it too, where
Mhm.
it didn't feel like they were shortchanging stuff. It felt like it clearly has the mind of the way a lot of stuff is conceived now, but of like, oh, we're gonna make more of these. So
Mhm.
I don't need to cram it all in. I don't need all of the lore. I don't
to
need to shout a reference to like every little bit of it. Like it's not an all or nothing kitchen sink kind of like, oh, they're never going to let us make one of these. So let's overstuff it with stuff for
Mhm.
the fans. It feels very much like we're confident that like we're putting something out that is going to get a positive enough response, at least from whether, screw the critics in this scenario, but like as long as there's a huge reaction from the fan base and it makes some decent money at the box office and it's a good return for like HBO Max, like they're gonna get a sequel. It will get greenlit, and I think it has a certain amount of confidence that like we don't have to do everything right now, and we've got kind of a brain towards how we want to structure this overall. And so yeah, and I haven't looked into like the creative team or like
Mm-mm.
who the writers were, et cetera, how this incarnation of it came about. But it really does, like I was saying earlier, it really does feel like we're kind of in that era where it's like, just give it to people who love it. Like that, why do we have to like
Mhm.
overthink, especially video games? Like, usually some of the most uncomplicated things. We're going to talk about this on our upcoming 2x2. But it's like, yeah, Mortal Kombat, you have a clear picture of what that movie is in your brain when you're playing that video game. Like it
Mhm.
doesn't need to be complicated by a bunch of other shit. It helps
Right.
that there are 10 plus games worth of lore and backstory and fan theories and like
Oh,
all sorts of stuff to build
when
off of. But you want to compare that to adapting Super Mario Brothers, for
I
instance.
mean,
It's
no, like
night and day, you know?
when he explains to her that like I was found by Master Bowright and put on the path of the light and all that, I was like, dude,
Dude, when they
that
called
explains
out Bo
every
Richo
fucking.
in dialogue, I was just like, dude, they're doing it right. They're
They know
so just
exactly
they
what
know
they're
what they're
doing.
doing.
Yes,
Yes.
to the point I was like, I don't need like. There's so much like you didn't even get into Katana, the like
They
the
yeah,
friendly one.
they
It was
show
Melina all day long, dude.
they showed the fan in the background, right? Didn't we get a
Right,
background shot of the fan? Yeah.
right, yeah. That shit,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yes.
I
Um,
was I and then Sonya coming out of nowhere to like kill Melina with the spine shot, and she had the rings because she took it from Kano and all that. I was
yeah.
like, this. Everybody got their power up, so to speak. Everybody was good, and Liu Kang like getting old with the fire and the
Dude, I
dragon.
got a
Yeah.
bicycle kick from him and I got his like iconic basically animality with the dragon, like, you know,
Yes,
that yeah, I could not
you
have
got
asked for
you,
more. I
you
think
got
Kung
Sonya with the
I
rings. You
think
got
Kung
Jack
Lao
slapping people's heads off.
I think Kung Lao takes the cake though with that bisecting, dude.
Mm.
That is also the most like MK10 and MK11 sort of fatality
Mm-hmm.
in this, honestly, where it's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is what they do now in these games, by the way. Uh, and you would have never seen anything close to that back in like the 90s incarnation of it. It just like I can't even
Yeah.
imagine them staging something like that,
No.
even though that movie was thought to be like very violent at the time, even though it's PG-13, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, and just from a sheer like stunt perspective, we've come a long way. We've come quite
Yeah,
a long way. Uh,
indeed.
yeah. So yeah, I huge success in my mind. I hope they get to make more.
Me
Keep
too.
everybody
If they
who's
look,
involved, like
if they can't
keep
give
them
them
around.
movies, they can give them 10 episode seasons. You know, people will eat that shit up.
Hell yeah, dude! HBO Max original. Give me a.
Yeah,
I again, it truly is. That would be perfect for a season of television.
yeah.
Each literally, dude, each episode is a bunch of in between stuff and like infighting machinations, alliances being made and broken, all the behind the scenes stuff. And then every episode, you give me a 15 to 20-minute extended fight scene that culminates
Between
with
two people,
somebody dying every
right?
single episode.
And then like you in because you basically set it up that as like when you picked a fight, you were picked a fight, and if you don't, or like if someone else interferes, you know, you're done. Like
Oh, dude,
you get taken
you
out. Like you set the rules pretty.
if you do that in the right way, you essentially have an entire season of television that consists of Mountain versus the Viper fights, where every
Right.
single episode people are just like, I don't want this to happen. Like how when it's like to bring in Game of Thrones, but like when it was building towards, dude, Tyrion's gonna have to like fucking fight, and like there's no champion. What's gonna happen? Like, and then to build up to the actual fight and look the anticipation of that, and then the reversal of it. Like you could have that feeling going on in people, like week to week if you did it the right way. Um,
Right.
I think great candidate, absolutely, for a brutally violent HBO Max exclusive. Uh, Preferably either with this creative team or some of the Gangs of London people or some of the people who work on Warrior right now and used to work on Banshee. Like any of those
Hmm.
people in that action TV space, let's get them together. But I know
Because
I think this
because
franchise belongs on the big screen, and I think it's going to stay there for a bit.
I
I
hope
think
it
we're going to get a
does.
couple of these.
I hope so. But if you do take it to TV, you keep it just like you said. But because it's Mortal Kombat and you've built up this idea that they have these powers, when they're inside the fighting arena, it literally has to be person against person, no Harry Potter bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, fireballs, no rings, no rings of Sonic rings or whatever. Just like two people fighting it out as best they can. So then it becomes like, hey, can you really beat Goro? Can you really take on Sub Zero, a ninja, or Hanzo, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're allowed to use weapons, but you can't use magic because
Right.
essentially that's the difference. But yeah, I agree. I hope we get at least two more big ones on screen because I mean I saw James Wan's name in the credits and
Mm-hmm.
I know that that man has been trying to make this happen for at least 15 years. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
I,
Yeah.
I think the YouTube show that they created that it became, I think that was just too much trying to ground it in too much realism and make it too gritty that people push back against it. We're like, okay, yeah, but this is like
But Mortal
this,
Kombat's fun. That's what
Mortal
it like.
Kombat's, yeah,
The
it
reason
is
it's
fun and
allowed to be
campy.
the reason it's allowed to be this gleefully violent is because it still maintains a certain amount of like wry sense of humor and like fun and just subversion about it. That's what was like transgressive about it back in the day was,
Mm-hmm.
and people got so worked up about the violence and everything, but it's like at the end of the day it's just a bunch of computer nerds who were like, hey dude, wouldn't it be crazy if like we could make his head come off of his body? It's just a
Mm-hmm.
lot like it doesn't come from some like sick sadistic place that they want to make you think it does or whatever. It's transgressive. It's just it's cartoons. It's like how far can we take this? It's whatever. And yeah,
If you get really mad about it, you
that
can turn the
spirit.
blood off.
That's what exactly they've always had that as an option for like since the second one forward. But I'm like, I think the movie somehow matched the tone of, and I'm playing through 11 right now, which is a very like the story itself is like pretty crazy and like deep and like heavy
Mm-hmm.
handed,
Yeah.
but it still has all of these crazy like wild characters who I weirdly have like games worth of relationships built up with and different feelings about and shit. That's like I yeah, and we we never like flat out said this, but I think that at the end of the day, that is like the main victory of this movie is they made something that I felt like did not cater at all to people who were not interested in it. It was like, we're just, this is for the fans, this is the people who get it, to the point where it's like there's references and certain bits in here that I'm like, I don't even know if those register with somebody who like, hasn't been following the franchise for the last like 2 decades. But it's never to the movie's detriment. I don't feel like it's just like this is something that was designed for the fans, and it actually I think is going to pay off as such. So yeah. Um, any other thoughts, brother?
Um, no, I mean, I agree. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and they were like, well, the next one's coming in 6 months, just like The Matrix. I'd be pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I hope it gets a good response. I will hopefully be able to talk to other people about it soon, maybe to add on to this. I know we went pretty in depth, but if I run into anybody, mainly Perk, that watches it,
I
I
would love
will.
to hear Perk's thoughts, of course.
Yeah,
Yes. All right. Well, I look forward to that. I will tell you before we sign off here. I don't know what your plans are for this evening. Do you need something to watch?
sure. What do
If you
you
go
got?
if you go on Amazon Prime
Uh huh.
right now, we
Mm-hmm.
should have it for the next like 24 hours. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's called The Empty Man.
Yeah. Okay, I watched the trailer last night. I didn't know. I didn't
James
know if you'd watch
Badgedale.
it. No. I didn't know how
Oh,
long you had it for. I didn't want to watch it. It leave the ready to watch list thing, and you come back and be like, "What the hell?" So you've watched it.
yes, I watched it last
All
night.
right, cool. All right, so I will check it out today then.
Yes, I mean check the counter on it because I think it was for 48 hours. But
Okay.
yes, check it out. I would love to talk with you about it in the future. You
Okay.
said you watched the trailer, so I won't bother saying anything about it. We both have finished Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I will be talking to the brothers Blanchard about that on Thursday. You're
Mm-hmm.
again welcome to join us if you are free. I think we're doing that around 9 o'clock. And then, of course, we'll be recording our Rocky and Karate Kid 2x2 for next month. And then we've got some anniversary stuff coming up as well. So
The month
exciting
ends
things ahead.
Friday.
Yes, it does.
We gonna do one for this month or no?
Yeah, we were doing our the aforementioned Super Mario Brothers and Michael Clayton.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when are we gonna do that?
As soon as you're ready to record it. We had to do this because we had to push Mortal Kombat, which we were supposed to do a few days ago. And then we incorporated the Oscars into it. So now we got to do our 2x2 before the
Okay.
month is over.
So Wednesday
I
or
guess that would be
tonight?
I guess that would be the night. Not tonight. It's almost damn 1 o'clock.
No. Tuesday night, not Monday night. Tuesday night.
Excuse me. Yeah, I guess we could do tonight.
Okay.
Theoretically, it's my first day back to work at the new place. So
What about Wednesday? What do you got Wednesday?
Wednesday, I'm like a half day, so that might work a little bit better. We'd still have
Let's
it
do
up before the
Wednesday.
end of the month.
Yeah, let's do Wednesday because I'm not gonna be able to talk propped up on my shoulders like this, laying across my bed. I definitely need to make a
Okay,
trip
yeah,
down there.
you just need to work on your home setup, dude. Like
We all can't
this is
have
super
desks
chill.
and extra tables and desks and chairs and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. We'll figure this out off mic. Anyways, watch The Empty Man while we have it on
Yes.
Prime. I don't
Okay.
know if you've started Mayor of Easttown on HBO,
No,
but
I wanted to let that sink up a little bit.
fair enough. I'm about to go watch episode 2 right now after I sign off with you. This was fun, brother. Thank you for joining me over Zoom. Until next time, we've been the Blanchard. Excuse me, I've been Noah.
And I've been Johnny Cage.
I've been Kung Lao of the what's
Temple of the Order of Light. Wait,
the
no.
Order of Light. Excuse me, it was right on the tip of my tongue.
Yes.
The tip of my tongue. Hashtag bring back Christopher Lambert. I love this Raiden, but I'm just like, can we get a Lambert cameo? I'm just curious.
Maybe he could be a thunder god or an elder god.
That would be nice. And you get Remar up there as well.
Yeah.
Show some
No,
respect to Annihilation.
Remar
Brian Thompson is also up there, just to be clear.
Remar is Shinnok all day long.
Dude, how about this? I didn't realize that Shao Kahn's dad in Annihilation is Shinnok.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's credited as Shinnok, but I would have never known because they definitely do not like. There's maybe one line of dialogue, and of course he looks nothing like the Shinnok of the games that we know. Right. But yeah, wild stuff. So skip Annihilation, pretend like this is a 2-movie franchise, and we're in a pretty good spot, guys. That's all we have to say.
That works.
So yes, huge endorsement on that. The Oscars, it was what it was, but at least we got Mortal Kombat this weekend. You know, that's the thing. Yep. And did we sign off? Until next time, I've been Noah.
I've been Gavin.
And we've been the Blanchard Brothers. And you've been listening to what we've been watching. Test your might.
You gotta say test your might again.
Test your might.
Mortal Kombat. Sorry.
You just want to play some Cranberries right now?
Is that
or not Cranberries? What am I thinking? Excuse me.
Why are we playing Cranberries?
Dude, I was way off. No, sorry.
You're thinking of Halcyon?
Halcyon On and On by
yeah. Well, that's what plays at the end of Mortal Kombat and the end of Hack.
Excuse me. Yes, the most 90s song ever. Yes.
Pretty much.
That's Orbital, right?
Yes.
Fucking Orbital. Hell yeah.
You know what you should play right now? You should play Woozy by Faithless.
Or Faithless. I don't know what that has to do with Mortal Kombat, but
I haven't heard it in forever and I can't find it anywhere. It's not on Apple Music.
Dude, do what I did.
It's Chris Conrad. Chris Conrad played Johnny Cage.
Do what I did for Woozy. Seriously. You go on YouTube. I don't know if I should put this information public. You go on YouTube. Copy the URL. Go over to Google and Google YouTube to MP3 and then put that YouTube address into the generator and you have an MP3 file of Woozy ready to upload onto your phone to use whenever the mood strikes you. There's also a good high quality version of it available on YouTube that I pull up quite often. Why that song is not streaming, I don't understand. Was that like exclusive to the Beach soundtrack or something?
It was. It's not on any of their greatest hits. It's not on any disc they've ever.
And it's not like there's parts of the Beach soundtrack available publicly, but that's not one of them. I'm sure it's some weird licensing thing.
Spinning Away is like randomly available. Like sometimes I'll pass over it on Apple Music and it will play. And then like a couple months later, I'll pass by it and it'll skip over because I have it downloaded, but it's not like available.
Gotcha.
So it'll just skip over like it's not even there.
All right. I think we ended the episode somewhere in there. So
somewhere.
All right. I'm going to sign off. I love you, brother. We'll figure out what's up.
I forgot that the old Jax was actually like an American Gladiator, and these arms on him from Annihilation just look ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and that's the whole reverse is like him learning to like you don't need him, and it's like this movie. It's like, oh, you definitely need him, bro. You definitely need him. Sub-Zero froze and removed your arms. By the way, before we go, I just want to give a big shout out to my main man Sub-Zero, for respecting the mask ordinance of 2021.
Yes.
And I want to give a big thumbs down to Mr. Hanzo Hasashi himself. Dude, no social distancing. You can't be, come over here to everybody. All right. You got to chill, dude. You got to chill with the come over here's. All right.
It's get over it. Get over here.
I'm terribly sorry. Sorry to offend you. Clearly, you're talking to a Sub-Zero fan. I am Sub-Zero.
he doesn't even say anything. Like that's the whole bit. Like Hanzo or Bihan doesn't like he just freezes things. There's no showmanship to it. And if you want to get technical,
So,
dude, I was on your side. I was Cyrax, Lin Kuei all day long. Cyrax was my dude
dude,
because I could do all the combos with him.
that was
Back
your
B
guy.
and that
Yeah.
net, and like boom, you trap him in the net, and then you just
Combo the shit out of him. Yeah.
go to town. So yeah,
Dude, I kick so much ass with Kung Lao in the new one. I've got like his like teleport kick down where I can like teleport at you on the left side, and then when you're standing up, I'm already coming in on the right, and I could just bounce you back and forth between the screen like all day long.
Jesus.
Oh god, dude. So satisfying. All right, are we done here? We're done. All right.